Good evening, class. This is Felicia Hodges, and this is my RISE self-review for week 4. How did my attitude and logic and behaviors influence my projects? What worked and what didn't? Well, for me, I know that Miss Frere mentioned it like right away that most of our students always reflect that they wanted more time. I really wish that in the first couple of weeks I would have had more time. During that time I was actually moving, so I didn't get to commit as much of myself as I would have normally. So I felt like I missed the opportunity then to really showcase what I could do. As I started working through all my projects, I realized it's a lot like my previous job. I was recently promoted to a designer, but before I was a project coordinator for the company that I work for and then the previous company that I worked for before that. And everything that we've learned in this class would have seriously helped me when I was in that position because, it was always very clear that budgeting was a big deal for clients. They know what they can spend and they need to stay within that. And so generally we tried to fit within their budget, but there were things that customers want that they don't necessarily understand why it doesn't fit a budget. So that all of these things really would have helped me explain why it didn't work for them, or it would work for them, but they would have to accept that it would be a little bit less than what they were hoping for. If I had had a little bit more time in the first couple of weeks, I think I really could have continued to build an even stronger project idea. I know I stuck with my project idea basically from start to finish just because that's something that is very near and dear to my heart. I believe that anyone coming into this class should right away know that they are going to need to commit some serious time because this is something, this is a project that in reality you could move forward and complete. Like, for instance, the project that I chose, the Healthy Lifestyles Movement, I really think that someday that project will take flight. I don't necessarily think that it'll be me. I think I'm going to actually have to pass that on to one of my really good friends who has also been inspired by my journey on a healthier lifestyle. But I really do think that the projects that we made in this class can move forward into becoming reality. The way I would approach a similar project like this in the future is to basically you go into it the way that I go into a design now, because that's the position that I'm in. You have to find something that you're passionate about, obviously, because it's something that you want to see come to light in the end, but you also, even if it's not something that maybe you're passionate about, for example, today at work I designed a vehicle wrap for a Tri-City animal shelter. Now, my initial design I was absolutely in love with, and I thought that it was the perfect route for them. Unfortunately, the customer didn't like that direction, so we had to switch directions. But in the end, even though we weren't necessarily happy that they wanted to go a completely different direction and I had to completely tear down the original design and start from scratch, I like what we ended with for today. So even if it's not something that you necessarily are passionate about, if you go into it with the right mindset and you don't close yourself to suggestions and a new direction, you could see something really great come out of something that you didn't necessarily believe in at first. So always have an open mind, I guess, is how I would approach every project from here on out, because in the last few weeks of my transition in my personal life and in my work life, I've seen you can't go into it completely closed-minded. You have to go into it understanding that some things may not go the way that you planned, but in the end it might work out even better than you could have imagined the way that you originally wanted to go. Well, thank you guys so much. I've enjoyed this class. I've learned so much, and I've been executing it in my day-to-day work life because I've been training a new project coordinator, so he has to learn all these things too. So it's been an amazing class. Thank you so much, instructor.